Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are now listening to the Apocalyptic Aftermath channel, and I am your unholy, unhumble host, the Apocalyptic Aftermath. So, I read your book. I didn't finish yet. I'm almost done. It's interesting. I like it. It's interesting. So far, anyways. I've been really busy. I'm doing other things. I'm sorry. I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right. This goes out to Dr. Zero Free Magic Secrets, which I do appreciate his channel. You know. But anyways, so let's move forward because the real subject. The thing is, Dr. Zero, I have a couple of questions that I will ask you in private, not on this, not on YouTube. So I am working on this book also on technomancy, and I do know that the spirits do not appreciate when I divulge private, confidential information. But I have come into I had an epiphany. I came to a realization, and it would seem from my research, because I got to research when I do the book. As I do this book, I have to research. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and I have been dumbfounded by what I have discovered. Right? This is not a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. The problem here is, I would love to talk about it. The only problem is it worth talking about? Because there's an issue with my YouTube channel where there is a lot of quote unquote haters. There's some quote unquote haters. Okay. But it's an interesting development though. So I'm like, okay, if I say this, the haters are going to know, and not a lot of real people are going to know. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to segue myself into a shameless self-promotion by saying, if you like what you hear on my channel, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and all that good stuff. So the thing that I've discovered is that technomancy is intricately connected to chronomancy. So this is a very interesting development, because I've said this a couple of days ago, like 2-3 days ago, last week, maybe not 2-3 days. I think it was last week. Yeah, it was last week. Last week, I said that I wanted to get into chronomancy, but I actually don't understand how. And as I'm writing this book, I'm researching, I'm seeing things, I'm, yada yada, I'm connecting dots and all the good stuff, right? And then, pow, as I was doing the thing, I'm like, oh, technomancy is connected to chronomancy. Why? Well, the thing is that time is not an illusion. Time is not an illusion. I know a lot of people say this, oh yeah, everything's a simulation. Nothing is simulated. Everything is real. Nothing is simulated. Everything is real. All right? It feels like a simulation because of the procedure that life undertakes upon us. It seems as if there's no free will. It seems as if choices don't matter. It seems as if what you think don't matter, but that's actually not true. When you feel like that, it's because of that brainwashing, that MK Ultra. You're watching Hollywood movies, you're watching commercials, you're reading the newspaper, you're talking to your friends your colleagues at work, and not necessarily your best friend, because your best friend is not gonna lie to you. And even if he doesn't lie to you, that doesn't mean that he can obliterate the veil of illusion that's in your life. Even though a best friend is kind of good for doing that, because your best friend wants the best for you, so he'll never tell you stuff that's not good for you. And that's why a best friend is a best friend, and everybody else is just a colleague, a partner, or a friend, right? So, but like I said, all best friends are not born equal. All best friends are not born equal. So, he might want good things for you, but that doesn't mean that he'll single-handedly destroy the matrix right before your eyes. Let's not exaggerate. So, not only does your best friend might or might not have the capability, the ability, the know-how, the knowledge, the gnosis in order to remove the veil in front of your eyes, but you are bombarded consistently by lies. And that's why you feel like life is an illusion. Life is not an illusion. Life is life. And there's people that created an illusion in front of life, right? So there's a wall in front of real life, and that wall is made of the lies and deceit, devious means. This wall of illusion and simulation is a devious mean for the black ops things to happen, the psyops and the black ops and the flying helicopters that flies over your head for no apparent reason just to be an asshole. I'm not scared of a fucking helicopter. What the fuck are you gonna do? You're gonna drive your helicopter right into my fucking face? You're gonna die, you fucking idiot. I don't care about your fucking helicopter unless there's some fucking rockets on that shit. And even if you fucking kill me with a fucking rocket, you're gonna kill everybody else that's around me. So I'll just hide behind a fucking baby. And then in the 6 o'clock news is gonna say that you're killing fucking babies. Pause, no pun intended. Salute to the American Army, the U.S. Army, but like you're the one that's gonna end up looking like a dumbass if you're shooting rockets in a suburban area. You idiot. So I don't really care about your freaking helicopters. So now that that's said, but you know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm saying right now. Everyone knows what I'm saying. Everyone. So, back to what we were saying about time. So time is actually energy, right? So I have convinced you, I hope by now, that money is just energy, right? Money is currency. We don't call it money, we call it currency, right? The current seas, right? We already know that. Everybody knows that. We talked about that last year for the whole year. Everybody knows that shit, all right? So we understand that money is just energy, right? So what do we say about time and money? We always say time is money, right? Time is money. So what are we actually saying? If money is not money, and money is currency, and currency is energy, so time is what? Time is energy. I swear I could have heard somebody repeat time is money. By the way, that's hilarious if you said that. So anyways, time is energy. Right? So we're looking at how can time be energy? Well, time is the way we perceive time is not the right way to perceive it. the way we perceive time is not the right way to perceive it. Give me a second here. Okay, so like I said, we've talked about we have delved into a parallel universe on this channel. We've talked about dimension a little bit. I hope you guys remember some of my videos about transcendental dimensional pathways pathogen, right? I call this a pathogen because it's a habitual habit that I have to talk about dimension, because I find that very interesting. I like the notion of being able to phase in and out of a multiple dimension. I like the idea of this, right? Which is also another thing that Flash, if you are carrying Flash consciousness with you, which some people do have, some people carry Flash Wally West consciousness, not Jesus Christ consciousness, even though Jesus Christ consciousness is kind of the same as Wally West consciousness. So if you believe in Jesus, then you might as well call yourself the Flash, right? So, because I believe Jesus was also a multi-dimensional entity. I don't think he was a one-faceted person. I don't think Jesus always existed on earth. I think he was, well, yes, you know, he went to hell. I think he went to heaven, or he came from heaven, and then he came down to, so he's a multi-dimensional being. He's capable of jumping in and out of reality at will, or maybe not. Maybe he needed to do a ritual in order to do that, but I'm pretty sure Jesus knew how to do it. So anyways, so back to what we were saying, I talk about this a lot. So what does dimension have to do with time? Well, time is a dimension in itself. Time is actually closely relatable. Time is a doorway to the fourth dimension. Okay? Time is a doorway to the fourth dimension. I wrote this in the book. I'm going to repeat it here. So you have X and Y axis, right? You have the X axis and the Y axis, right? And then you have a Z axis. So the Y axis is to the left, I think. I'm not sure. If you want to correct me, you can. Just leave that in the comment section. So the Y axis, so I'm just going to say the Y axis is left, even though I might be wrong about that. But I'm going to keep saying it anyway. So the Y axis is left, right? And the X axis is on the right, right? That's one dimension. Well, actually, the X-axis is one dimension, right? But the thing is, the X-axis is neither forward or backward. Mind you, this is a dimension. So there's no telling if X is behind reality or above reality. There's no way of knowing that. The only way to know that is to add another dimension. So then we can calculate distance and space. Because if I just put X, there's no space. There's just a point in reality. But X is still very existent. So X is one dimension. Y is a second dimension. Now, if I put X and I go backwards or I go forwards, it doesn't matter at this point. It really doesn't. If I draw a line, if I'm standing on X and I take a chalk and then I walk 2 meters, now, and I write Y on at the end of the 2 meters, that's another dimension. Now I'm two-dimensional. So now I can walk forward and I can walk backwards. All right, so now we got 2 dimensions. So now there's the Z dimension, right? What is that? Z is up and down. So we're still talking about technomancy here because X, Y, Z dimensions is a a form of calculating 3D. It's how we calculate 3D. It's how when you're a computer programmer for a video game, you need to know your X, Y, Z axis. It's important because that's the basis of what you're going to use to build things, to create things. You're going to create a three-dimensional space, and you can only create a three-dimensional space by having, guess what? 3 dimensions. Duh. So the Z-axis is very interesting, and that's where shit starts to fucking hit the fan. Pardon my language, but it's true. Stuff is hitting the fan, and there's poop everywhere. It's on the walls, it's on the floor, it's all over the ceiling, it's just all over the place. All right? Why is that? Why is the Z-axis the master of poop? Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're supposed to be able to go up and down. Z would represent up and down. Technically, that's what it represents. Z represents up and down. But it still don't make sense. Right? Because you got X and Y. So how come you don't have Z and V or W? Right? Because the Z-axis is either up, but they're still going down. But the funny part that don't make sense is, well, you can't go down. Right? We can't go lower. And humans live on an X and Y dimension. But and we call that a plane. We call the encompassing energy of X and Y, we call it a plane, right? This is the checkered board. Now we're talking about the checkered board, right? That we love to talk about so much, right? This is all technomancy, by the way. So we don't live under the plane. So there's no W or V axis. But there's an X and Y. Now the question is, why can't we live under that? Or why isn't there another axis under it if up and down? Because X and Y is the ground that we walk on. And Z represents up and down at the same time, but nah, it's not really representing up and down. Z represents the gravity and space that is above your head. And the reason why it doesn't represent down and just it represents only up and it doesn't represent down is because of Isaac Newton's law of relativity and Einstein's law of relativity. Gravity is everything is coming towards you. You're not going towards, yes, if you're under a tree and you see a tree branch and you jump towards the tree branch, you're going towards it. So now you're going up. But you can't really reach the tree branch. But the tree branch can reach you. So let's say a lightning strikes the tree, cuts off the tree branch that you were trying to jump at. That shit is going to fall on your head, bust you wide open. You know what I mean? So, well, no, it's not. It's not gonna do that. So, but technically, that's what the third law of the law of relativity of Isaac Newton actually says. Everything is coming towards you. And it's true. Everything is coming towards you. You are a magnetic pole for reality. Reality is coming at you. You're not going at it. Of course, you can take a step towards reality. But as you step forward in reality, why that is inconsequential is as you are moving forward inside of reality, things are still coming at you. So the only thing you're doing when you're moving towards reality is that you're shortening the distance of things that are coming already at you. So going forward with things is actually making good use of your time. It's actually making good use. You can see it as that. Like let's say you're a businessman, you know, wink wink. Let's say you're a businessman. Give me a second here, I'll be right with you. So let's say you're a businessman and you're so you go out and you are going to go sell some stuff, right? The people that are ready to tell you yes and no are coming towards you. But this is some really complicated shit, all right? So you are going towards them, right? So now what you're doing is you're reducing the time period between you and those people that were already coming towards you. Because the thing is, if you're a businessman, this is why everything has its own different dimensions. And that's why you should be careful what dimension you enter in, right? Because if you wake up one day and you tell yourself, I'm a businessman, well, everything that a businessman does is going to come straight at you. So all of his problems, all the consequences, all the rewards that being a businessman involves, those things are going to come straight at you like a freaking meteorite. Because you made that choice. Look, I know, I'm talking about superpositioning and we haven't even talked about that. I know, it's complicated shit, like I said. But let's stick to the z-axis for now. Let's talk about the z-axis. So the z-axis, you're going up. You're not really going up, but you're going up. You can jump, right? But there's gravity. Gravity is another form of element. It's another element, right? It's a respectable element, and people should learn to respect gravity, right? Because it is energy. Gravity is energy. It's a form of energy that is manipulable. If that's not a word, I am so sorry. You can manipulate energy. You know, that was some really bad English, but hey, just act like that it didn't happen. So, energy. Okay, so now what was I saying? Because I be clowning too much. That's what happens. Hold up, what was I saying? Okay, fuck it. So you're not really going up, but you can go up because you can jump. You can use your legs, give yourself an impulse boost, a force of matter and kinetic energy, and you jump up. So yeah, okay. So gravity is a form of energy that can be controlled and manipulated. You can bend the rules of gravitational energy, just like you can bend the rules of magnetic, electric, photonic energy, right? You can manipulate all those energies, right? That's the joy of being a human, is that we can fuck around and find out. Okay? So regardless, you're not really going up, you're going down. You know what I mean? Like, you're always going down, because even if you jump in the air, you will come back down to the ground. So you might be in the air, but your original point, you know, that is still you, because you're jumping up and down. So you're still on the ground. You're in the air, but you're going to come back down where you landed, which is the ground. So you're not really in the air. Because if you were in the air, you wouldn't go back down. Right? And this rule goes for planes, everything that flies, even birds. Everything is coming towards you. Right? Then you tell yourself, well, shit, if everything is coming towards me, then I don't have to move. Precisely. Exactly. You are fucking right. If everything is already coming towards you, then you don't really need to put much effort in things. If everything is already coming towards you, then why would you put an effort into doing anything? Well, here's a reason. Because it saves time. But if you understand, because there's something extremely motivational about what I just said, but I said it quickly, so maybe you didn't catch it. Everything is coming towards you. So if everything is coming towards, when you make the choice of being successful, you are creating a dimension. You are creating a portal. As soon as when you make the choice, when you wake up in the morning, you tell yourself, yo, I'm going to be successful. You're creating a portal. Because you didn't really make the choice. You're just thinking about it. So that's a portal. When you're just thinking about shit, but you're not really like intending to follow through, that's a door. That's a portal. You just open the portal. You open the portal of endless possibilities, multi-dimensional timelines. Because within one thing, there are many other things. You can end up being a businessman, but you can end up being a guy that, does unethical business, which means, I want to get into the sneaker business, and that was the portal. You woke up one morning, you told yourself, I want to get into the sneaker business, right? So now you open the portal, but now you really intend on being in. I'm still talking about the Z-axis. This is all the Z-axis, by the way. So yeah, I'm a little bit excited about it. I ain't gonna lie. So, you open the portal. The portal, when you're thinking about it, you open the portal. You go through the portal when you make the decision. You haven't moved 1 inch, by the way. All of this is in your head. Everything I just said is all happening in your head. You haven't even like put your foot on the ground yet, right? So the portal is open. The portal is open, but now you intend on actually doing it. And now you put a foot out on the floor because now you're going to go make yourself some coffee. And now we're talking about superpositioning, by the way. Pay attention. I know what I'm saying is extremely complicated to comprehend, and a lot of you might not have the physics background to even comprehend what I'm saying. But please, bear with me, because I'm actually trying to explain this to you as if you were 6 years old, and it's not easy. You know what I mean? So bear with me here, man. And I know there's some people that understand too. Don't worry about it. This is mind-blowing shit, by the way. So now your foot is on the ground. So now you made the decision. Now you're intending on doing this, right? So now, whichever, like, either you're in front of your computer and then you're doing research on the business that you want to get into. You're doing a sneaker business. So now you intend on getting up to start your sneaker business. So now you've walked through the portal. Now you're through the portal. It's too late. You can't go back. I mean, yeah, you can. But the portal's open, right? The deed is done, right? So now, like I said before, all the consequences of being a sneaker business enthusiast, is coming straight at you at light speed. But you don't see it that way, which is normal, right? Because of superpositioning. So your physical body is going X. Is going towards the X-axis, right? You're going forward, right? And then you got to go backward to go take a piss or shit like that. but you're going forward. But the thing is, time doesn't see it like that. It's only humans that see it that way. Time doesn't see it in the motion that, oh, he's gonna go take a piss. I'm gonna wait for him. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. And then, oh, he's gonna go eat something. I'm gonna wait for him. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That's not how like time works. Time works in a way that when you make the decision, everything that encompasses that decision and all the people that encompasses that decision are now coming at you at light speed. It's already there. They're already there. Everybody's already there, right? So all the business people are there. Everything. You can't see shit. You can't see shit. You're eating eggs and bacon. That's all you see. But in actuality, your shoe business is already created. The people are already there. There's people that hate you. There's people that love your sneaker business. There's people that hate your sneaker business. There's people that are fans of your sneaker business. There's people that are trying to buy your sneakers. There's people that don't want to buy your sneakers. There's people that don't want other people to buy your sneakers. There's the Illuminati. There's me. There's YouTube. We're all there. We're all there. All of us. But what you're seeing is bacon and eggs. Right? It's fucked up, isn't it? like, you know, all that shit's going on, but as you're eating your bacon and eggs, right? So like I said, time is energy. And you are energy too. That's why you're eating bacon and eggs. That's why all of your activity and all of your movement is important. But now I'm not talking about technomancy or z-axis. Now I'm talking about apotheosis. This is apotheosis. When this is like an osmosis, right? You know what an osmosis is? It's like when two organic forms fuse together to become one. That's an osmosis, right? It's like a parasite or a symbiote, right? It's like a symbiotic relationship, right? But a symbiote relationship, one still is two consciousness fusing together and one taking advantage of the other one's forces and weakness and removes the weakness in order to become stronger. Venom is a very cool entity. Venom will remove any illnesses that you have within you, and he's going to enhance your ability. And he also profits from your energy, body, and whatnot, right? So this is the difference between a symbiotic relationship and an osmosis in a relationship, right? It's like the two become one, right? So anyway, we're talking about apotheosis here, right? So everything that you do during the day is very important, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about it another time. So let's keep going with what we were saying. So you made that decision, but now, like I said that you can branch out into different variables because your destiny is not a straight line. It doesn't have to be. It's your choice. You know, you got free will. Mostly. It's your choice. So you're going through a straight line, right? Or you're not. You're going through a straight line, and then at some point you're kind of like, you know what? It's too hard to do it the normal way. I'm gonna just hire some fucking kids in in some indigenous country, and I'm gonna give them $2.50 an hour to, I don't know what, to build, the $1.75 to build them shoes so I can sell it at 10 times the price. That's unethical business. That's your choice. So now, when you enter that, because now you have two choices. It's either you make the shoes yourself, or you get it subtracted for cheap. Those are two different dimensions. Those are two different timelines. There's a timeline where you chose to do it yourself, and then there's the timeline that you chose to do it by somebody else. So now you decided to go to the other one, right? You decided to go right instead of go left, right? So now your timeline is branching out into a different timeline because those are two different choices. And within that choice, you can make other choices that'll branch out into two different more timelines, or three. It depends. Some situations have two solutions to it. Some situations got three solutions to it. Some decisions got four dimensions to it. Like, let's say you're a UFC fighter. When you're inside the octagon and you're fighting a person, you know many secret kung fu techniques, right? You know about 50 different kung fu techniques. Well, all those 50 kung fu techniques are a different dimension. If I use this technique on this guy, this and this might happen. If I use this technique on this guy, this and this might happen. Every time you choose every time you make a conscious choice on a move that you're about to make, like playing checkers, like playing chess. Basically, you're playing chess like chess, the same thing. It's like, if I move this pawn here, if I try to attack him like this, this and this and this and this might happen. So you're seeing things on a multi-dimensional timeline. You're seeing different timelines. That's why people like to play chess, I guess. Or some people like to play chess. I don't play chess. I don't know. I play chess in real life. I play chess with real people. I don't play chess. So, yeah, man. Some fucked up shit. So anyway, so now, like I said, I think I explained the z-axis quite well, actually, more or less. Whatever that means. But that encompasses, everything I just said encompasses the z-axis. And it encompasses time. So now the thing is, what the fuck does time have to do with the z-axis? Well, if you combine the x, y, and z-axis together, that makes another dimension. This is the fourth dimension, because x, y, z is three-dimensional. But there's still but all of those axes connect to each other. Mind you, X is energy, Y is energy, Z is energy, right? As soon as a thing is a thing, it has energy. Because before X, there was nothing. And even nothing is energy. Even nothing's energy, right? So X is energy, Y is energy, Z is energy. And all those energy converge on one single point. And what is that point? This is another dimension called the fourth dimension. And how and why is the XYZ energy? Because of time. Because when you decide that there is something above your head and you can strive in your life to reach it, you're putting energy into it. And there's many things that are happening. We call that nature. Basically, the XYZ axis is a representation of nature. It's a representation of nature. It's a representation of your environment, your surrounding, right? So So all this is happening at the same time. So now you have the fourth dimension. That is a connection, a convergence of all three axes. It's a convergence of all three axes, right? The triangle and and the all-seeing eye. For you people, whatever, right? Symbolic representation of sacred geometry, right? So the middle, there's energy in the middle. That's why there's an eye in the middle, because that thing is looking at you, and you're looking at it all day, every day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It never stops. It never sleeps, right? So all that's energy, man. All that is energy, and all that is energy, and all that is connected together, right? So now you have the fourth dimension, which is time, and the fourth dimension is time. That's what the fourth dimension is. But time, I fear, is not what we think it is. We just call it time because, well, that's what we chose to call it. But time is another form of energy, because the fourth dimension only exists if there is kinetic force involved in it. So when you move forward, if you're moving towards the x-axis or the y-axis, who cares? Your mass is equivalent to the material that is put in front of you. Mass equals square, whatever. So now that's energy. Not you, but the movement is energy. The fact that you're moving is energy. The movement itself is energy. It's not you that's energy. It's the fact that you can move. So movement is an energy. Movement is energy. Of course. Duh. Everybody knows that. Movement is energy. But where does movement come from? Movement comes from the fourth dimension. This is the fourth dimension. This is the dimension that we cannot see. Even though we see ourselves moving, we don't see everything that moving actually does to the universe. And earlier I said, if you thought you didn't need to do a lot of effort, you're right. And this is the reason why. Because time is not looking at you in a timeline sort of way. Time is looking at everything at the same time. It's not time is not an entity that's like, okay, 0.0 nanoseconds, he moved 25 centimeters. It's not calculating like that. It is, and it can, because it's time. And time is capable of seeing things in that way. But the real way of how time sees everything, because time is everywhere, and time is a god, Chronos. Time is a god. It's a titan called Chronos, right? So as time go along, it's not about time go along. Time can see, like I said, sorry about that. Time can see everything happening. Time doesn't need to know the future. Time is the future, the present, and the past. That's what time is. Time represents all of it. It represents the past, the future, and the present, right? So that's how time is looking at you. It's looking at you in the state of present, future, past. And not only that time is looking at you like that, but time is also seeing all of your choices. So it knows all of the possibilities that you have taken and has seen all the effects of all the possibilities that you have taken. But time cannot be a judge of men. And you want to know why? Because your destiny is not cemented in cement. Your destiny is prone to change. It can change. It could change. You know? Like you can wake up, say, I'm going to do unethical shoe business. But then you can wake up one day and be like, you know what? Fuck my unethical shoe business. I'm going to go back to doing ethical shoe selling. Right? Ethical sneaker business. I'm going to have an ethical sneaker business because I don't feel like doing this anymore. So now your destiny's changed. Because you already started one linear path. You already started one path. One multi-dimensional path, and that multi-dimensional path could have brought you to a bunch of other multi-dimensional paths and to meet a bunch of random people that you wanted to meet and whatever. But then you wake up and you're like, you know what, fuck it. But all those branches still exist. There's a limit to the amount of branches that one does, but you're also creating a possibility of all those existing, right? So all that's still there, but you switched from one end to another. So you branched out from one end and you branched into another, right? So now the same thing is going to happen there too. You're going to open up multiple branches and multiple timelines, right? And the reason why, and this is the reason why, when you're thinking, well, if everything is coming at me, then I don't have to go anywhere. Well, technically, yes. Technically, you're right. But I say technically because when we start going that route, now it depends on what you're willing to do in order for that to take effect, right? So basically, you don't want to move a lot. Well, now you're going to need to build your business online or in your garage because you don't want to move a lot. And since you don't want to move a lot, you're going to have to spend some of the energy that you received from your shoe business and put it into another person so that this person uses that energy and his to go get you more customers. But at the end of the day, did you move anywhere? Did you go anywhere? No. You started your business from your house. And it's successful. So, but what about the people in the old times? The people in the old times just made their stuff in their house. And then they sold it to other people. And it's like people that have lemonade stands or cookie businesses or cooking businesses or clothing business. Like, you know, they don't necessarily have to open up a store. They don't necessarily have to go anywhere. If they want to, they can. If they feel that it would go faster if they did, they can. But it all depends on the way that you think. So anyway, I'm going to close the book. If this didn't make sense or I missed something, please let me know. Subscribe to my channel. Leave a like. Leave a comment, subscribe to my channel because we always have information like this coming out all the time. So, yeah. Have a good one. Peace out.